Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs. Welcome to Tuesday Facebook Live, Making Peace with Money. I have a lot of tools today to share with you. So welcome to Facebook Live, Peace with Money. This is like Peace with Money 101. I've covered this topic easily in the hundreds of times through live events. I spoke live from September 1998 to March of 2020 over 1,000 times in front of live audiences. And this was always a component of any event, was peace with money. Tracy, good to see you. John Morgan, looking forward to coaching you this evening. Welcome everyone for being here. Cassie, good to see you. Topic for today's Facebook Live is peace with money. For those of you who are in sales, you'll encounter people that you are communicating with that are seeking your service, products, goods, benefits, features, and you'll encounter that their dialogue with money oftentimes is not conducive to the purchase of what you are selling. And they may want the product, they may see the value, but oftentimes they will come up with a money objection. And there's only so far you can go with that, and you learn to let people go who have that objection, who aren't able to overcome it themselves. And that's part of the peace that you create with money, especially sales, branding, and marketing. And even though you may have a great product, you don't want to get in this space, well, this doesn't make sense. They should have bought this. Well, if they should have bought it, they would have bought it. And that's your responsibility to be at peace with the process. And so the topic for today's Facebook Live is peace with money. Now, here's an old book that I've had for many years. It's a very odd-sized book. Now, this is a small book right here, but this is one of the oddest-sized books in my library. It's called Making Peace with Money, and the author is Mundus, Gerald Mundus. I've read this book many, many times. He has a great chapter in here on flow right here. Let's cover this for you. This chapter right here is really good on flow with money. And it's not only money, it's a flow of life. So that will lead me to this right here. I brought a lot of tools to the Facebook Live today. This is the original CD set, Principles for Prosperity. This is the 10 CD set that I produced originally on cassette in 1999, and the audio version on CD came out in 2020, and Principles for Prosperity. In the mid-90s, I was listening to, hi Diana, good to see you this afternoon. Josh, good to see you. In the mid-90s, I was listening to a Frederick Lehrman course called Prosperity Consciousness. Ashley, good to see you this afternoon. Wojo, Lynn, good to see all of you this afternoon. I was listening to a 6-cassette audio program, and this content is still available. You can purchase it on CD. It is called Prosperity Consciousness. Some of you may have it. It is just absolutely great content. I started with Frederick Lehrman and Stuart Wilde were two of the people that I was reading. Then I found Phil Lott, Money is My Friend. Over my shoulder right back there, there's a library of books, and there are 4 shelves dedicated to those books. Now, Josh Moran has been in my house. Wojo has been in my house, and they have seen the bookshelves I have in my main property. So a lot of the books I have are on The Soul of Money. That's by Lynn Twist. How to Create Money, Peace with Money. I have all the Millionaire Mind books by Stanley. His original books were Marketing to the Affluent, Marketing with Influence. I read those books early in my journey. Myself, I've always had an affinity to be able to create money. I worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Then I would have a part-time business on the side. And back then, hustling had a different view of it than hustling does today. So the term is side hustle. I've always had the ability to create money. And that doesn't mean I was good as a steward of it, but I was always able to create it through waiting tables, bartending, catering, and multiple ways to create money. Then customers in restaurants invariably would hire me to do projects for them. I also lifeguarded at country clubs, bartended at country clubs, and did private bartending parties. And so I had skills that would allow me to create money in multiple ways. I also sold cars, tore down barns. I also grew up on farms, so I baled hay, and I was able to put myself through college back in that era. Now that would not happen in today's world. So the educational process and money, there's a great disparity between those two. That's why it's really, I mean, you have to really question, would I even send a child to college in today's woke world? I mean, you have to really ask yourself that. I mean, what does it cost to go to, like I'm from Iowa and Missouri, so University of Missouri, University of Iowa would be in the $50,000 range or somewhere in that situation. UCLA, San Diego State, I mean, what does it cost to go to these institutions? Or what about if you become a beautician, it's $21,000 and in 9 months you're making money. Or if you become an electrician. In today's world, it's equally as important to be able to find a trade or a vocation where you're not paying interest on money that doesn't exist. That's FICA money, that's debt equity money, that's debt money, anywhere from 28% on. Now, Josh Moran is on today's Facebook Live. I highly endorse him. He's a money expert, a money steward. He is a financial expert in the insurance industry. And the insurance industry is an industry that very few people understand. That's why he's going to be one of my speakers in my Millionaire Blueprint. And there's different annuity products that people don't understand. There's many investment vehicles. Now, there's been the intoxication with crypto and Litecoin and Bitcoin, and I run from these people. So that is not, so there's also asset money and there's liability money. A large percent of the population lives in liability debt, paying interest on money that does not exist. For those of you who have heard of ERC, it's a program that the government just put out for business owners, and I just received my checks yesterday for a total of $26,000, and that was free money. So that came back to me as a business owner, and I did have to pay tax on that, but I did receive that from the United States Treasury. Now, to be skilled with money is to not be intimidated with it. If the thought of or the idea of money intimidates you, then you're easily intimidated, because money is not intimidating itself. It's the possibility or the situation that you hold on to from past events that will keep you in a money scarcity, poverty consciousness, lack, and in debt. Now, this book isn't that old. The book was written in 2010. But the content from this book goes back to the turn of the century, 1900, 1910, 20s, and 30s, and it features authors Napoleon Hill, Joseph Murphy. Murphy wrote the groundbreaking book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, in 1962. Wallace Waddle wrote The Science of Getting Rich at the turn of the century, and then Joseph Collier wrote Secret of the Ages. But most importantly, it has Ralph Waldo Trine in here. Trine wrote the groundbreaking book in 1908 called In Tune with the Infinite. So this is a great book by money masters that the Napoleon Hill Foundation put out in 2010. I highly recommend this. And if you're just watching this content, this is a very odd-sized book. It's very small. It doesn't really fit a shelf. And it's written very uniquely, like this very small print. And I highly recommend this book. I have followed this author for years, Gerald Mundis. Then I produced this content, Principles for Prosperity, old school CDs. This was available on CD back in the day. It originally was a 6-cassette audio program in 1999. Joe Frith, good to see you this afternoon. Melissa, good to see you. Michelle, good to be here with you today. So the topic, if you're just joining me, is peace with money right here. This was the promo that went out on email and also on Facebook. And then the syllabus for today's Facebook Live is Money Talk. That is your communication with money. Is your dialogue with money conducive to the attraction, to the creativity, to the creation of being able to attract money to you? So the term money magnet, well, it doesn't quite work like that. But let me show you some lawful legal money real quickly. So I'm going to pull out some old school money. Now this is numismatic money. So numismatic money means numismatic law. This is an August St. Gaudens. This is a $20 gold piece, 1927. So this is gold. So this content is gold today. There's 13 stars on the lip of this, representing the 13 states of the United States. And this coin was commissioned by Theodore Roosevelt, the president from 1900 to 1908, which incidentally, those were very interesting years in American money history because the Federal Reserve Bank Act wasn't going on right then. The Titanic sank, and on the Titanic were three men who opposed the Federal Reserve Bank Act. That is a side note in history that many people don't understand. And in 1913, the Federal Reserve Bank Act and the Internal Revenue Service were enacted in the same time frame through the same president. Woodrow Wilson was who signed off on that, a liberal Democrat from New York who was followed by another liberal Democrat who had 4 terms later, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And during Roosevelt's term, we went off of this, the gold standard. So the gold standard, so that this is what starts to devalue our money. This is where FICA money starts to become popular. And this is a $10 gold piece right here. And now I've owned these. I bought these from a numisticist. That is someone who understands the laws that govern money. This is a very heavy coin, lawful legal money. I'm in the process of buying gold, and I buy gold that comes in they're break-offable 1-ounce bars that I keep in my safe. And the reason in challenging times, gold has maintained its value. Gold, silver, ammunition, and other commodities that would be valuable in case there was some level of crisis or whatever could potentially happen in the coming year with the possibility of Project 2030. And the more you understand what's going on in the world, it's going to be your responsibility to understand money. So your money talk is going to be very important to your ability to understand it. Now, did you grow up with chronic debtors, number 2? Are you yourself a chronic debtor? Are you out of money when you're out of debt? Do you carry a lot of debt? Do you even understand how debt was created? Do you understand the points that are created on debt? And do you understand that many of the credit cards that you use are 28% in, Josh just said, currently investing in gold and ammunition. Now there is a sharp young man. And I highly recommend that you reach out to Josh today. And Josh is very skilled also in understanding a term called indexed annuities. Josh and I sat in a room last July, almost 1 year ago, and Wojo was there as well. And there was a presenter there I brought specifically to one of my events so that I could understand what an indexed annuity is. And it's a financial product that is not in the FDIC. It's a very interesting insurance product. And I suggest that you start to understand what an indexed annuity is, what a variable annuity is, and you have a better understanding of where to put your money in unsafe times. In the 90s, which is where I started to really improve my money talk, there was offshore. That's where many people were moving. They were moving there to where there were countries and there were islands, Isle of Man, Vanuatu, the Caribbean, and some of these places where people were putting their money that there were different treaties where money couldn't be sourced. Well, after 9/11, that all changed because many of those treaties were broken up because we have to trace the trail of Taliban money. So it's important that you understand what is going on with money in the world. One of the greatest money books that ever was written as a children's story called The Wizard of Oz. And if you can Google Wizard of Oz. There are speakers that in YouTube who will break that whole book down for you so you can understand that Frank Baum wrote that book. He started writing that book in the 1890s and published the book in 1900. I have a 1994 mint condition version of that book, and it is not illustrated by the original illustrator. If it was, it'd be worth about $100,000. But that book is a money that's the history of what is going on in America in the 1890s, right up to what happens for the Federal Reserve Bank Act of 1913. And you have this, you have money anxiety, number 3, right there. money anxiety. Well, money doesn't have any anxiety about you. Why do you have money? Why do you have anxiety about money? Money is an energy, and if you're not skilled at attracting the flow of it, you'll be in the resistance of it. If you're in the force of it, then you'll be like many of my prospects who tell me their mouth moves, they want to hire me, but, and then they have their dialogue with money is not conducive to either creating it, releasing it, or being in business for themselves. And that hinders a large percent of the population, because when you're trading time for money, your money is limited. So if your job is worth $68,000, that doesn't mean that's what you're worth, but that's what that job is worth. If your job is worth $100,000, well, that doesn't mean that's your value, but that's the value of the job. And many people get trapped that if they don't have a salary and if they don't have guarantees. And so the guarantee typically guarantees that you'll die broke if you live in that world. Although there are some well-paying jobs, and there's also places you can be your own consultant or independent contractor. There's many ways that in the corporate world you can navigate, own your own business, but you'll be limited unless you have a really good paying job, a job that has a high value. And the more that you understand that the creation of money is about your creativity, your ingenuity, your ability to operate in free enterprise in what is called the free market. I coach a man who's going to be at the Millionaire Blueprint, who creates multiple millions by day trading. Now, he's an anomaly. He has his own private plane. I coached a man today who at times makes over $1 million a month. He is my most successful client when it comes to the laws that govern money, and he is crushing it in ERC, turning in over 1,000 applications a month. He's skilled at phone rooms. He 37 years old, owns multiple businesses, multiple corporations, and this year is starting to have $500,000 to $1 million months. I mean, that could be you if you have that money creativity. And incidentally, he has no college degree and has no success in corporate America. He learned in phone rooms how to close sales, started to develop phone rooms in the funeral industry, and started to do phone rooms in the college debt industry, and has been a phone room king for a number of years at 37 years old, living in a country where the tax laws are much different in America, and is very, very skilled at understanding international and national tax law, because his dialogue with money is conducive to creating it, and he determined that he deserved to live the good life, and he is living it. Now, this could be you, but you have to have the vision to be able to create that. For me, as a small child, I wanted to be a millionaire. I didn't want to have a corporate career. I didn't want to be a stockbroker. I didn't want to have a white-collar job. I didn't want to have a tie. I waited tables. I hustled. I worked for entrepreneurs in Kansas City. I looked for ways to start my own businesses, and I was not successful in business until I was 40 years old. I went through my addiction years, 14 to 31, and then from 31 to 39, where I started to develop the habits, the skills, and the mindset. And then at 39 years old began the breakthrough year in 1996, 7, and 8. And that's where my dialogue with money took a quantum leap. Now, I knew I had the ability, but the visible proof had not shown up yet. I saw other people in the network marketing industry at the Herbalife conventions I went to. I was part of a company called Nutrition for Life. I met Kevin Trudeau back in the day when he was marketing shark cartilage on infomercials, and he had done the Kevin Trudeau's Mega Memory books. And so I had seen other people. I'd seen people who were highly, highly successful. I was in Jeff Olson and Eric Worre's team in TPN, the People's Network, in 1994. And I kept bouncing around. Then I went into the telecommunication industry, and I did not succeed there. I had a lot of challenges being able to find my niche for the first 6 years of my entrepreneurial career in sobriety. But what I was doing is I was reading a lot of books. I was listening to cassette programs. I was listening to Napoleon Hill. And I was paying the price of success. I was attending 12-step meetings. And I was in the best shape of my physical life, exercising 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, for multiple years. And I lived in small apartments. I moved around a lot. I moved to Washington, D.C. to run a phone room. I moved to Dallas, Texas twice and developed businesses in Dallas, Texas on 2 different occasions while keeping a small apartment of about 400 to 600 square feet in Stockton, California. Those were called the dues paying years. And those dues that I paid absolutely paid off because I turned the money corner in 1996, 7, and 8. When are you going to turn your money corner? Is this your year? Is this the year that you start to have a healthy relationship with money? Is now the time that you're going to be comfortable with attracting and creating, letting go of terms like selfish, guilt, and shame when it comes to the creation of assets and letting go of your liabilities and debt? Are you in a position that you can let go of your poverty consciousness, your broke thoughts, your lack, your scarcity? Are you in this position? I watched Josh Moran. This has happened to him. This is happening to some of my clients who starting to understand that there's a stewardship with money. And if you're not a steward of it, then you're going to be, instead of being in the flow of money, you'll be in the resistance of money. Are you in the power of money? Are you in the force of money? Jennifer, so good to see you. Jennifer, I want to point out, Jennifer was my client multiple years ago, and I watched her go through some very, very challenging times. And she is the mother of 3, and went through challenging times. Jennifer, go and list how people can get a hold of you. Josh, also let people know how they can reach you. Jennifer went through very challenging times. That's my homegirl, Jennifer Myers, right there. And I know she is crushing it in the real estate industry in Tampa, Florida. I remember when you started your first real estate. Jennifer's a former attorney, single mother of 3, been through a lot of challenges in her life, and absolutely turned the corner in the last 4 years. And 4 years ago, I was coaching Jennifer, and then 3 years ago, she really turned the corner. I coached Jennifer back-to-back for 2 years. Jennifer, I'm very, very proud of you. Rick Stout's another exceptional young man I coached in the Tampa Bay area who is crushing it in real estate. I just looked recently. I coach five men and women who are 32 years and under who are achieving multiple 6 figures in real estate. I coach a few people in insurance right now who are achieving multiple 6 figures in insurance, and multiple stay-at-home moms. Right now I'm coaching 5 stay-at-home moms that achieve at least $25,000 a month with children from the comfort of their home, meaning that anyone who is committed can change your emotional state, because it's your emotional state that determines whether you're in anxiety, fear, and doubt, or whether you are in consciousness. You're either going to be in flow or resistance. And if you're in money resistance, your mouth will move and you will continue to live in poverty consciousness, lack, and debt. So people have said to me, well, that's easy for you to say, you're a millionaire. Well, no kidding, dude. How do you think I became this way? It wasn't from what I learned going to college. It wasn't what I learned from my family. I am self-taught, self-made, self-inspired, and self-driven. And if you can understand that, and you can be that man, that woman, if you can put your ass in the chair right here at your desk in a small little office, and you can focus on creating wealth, you can break through. But if you can't focus, then you'll be hocus pocus. You're always out of focus. And if you live in this lack consciousness and you feel and you're an MMO, you might miss out. And if you keep running from business to business and don't ever really focus on wealth creation, then unfortunately you'll have tiptoed quietly through life and you'll be at your graveside with no assets. And that means that you'll have no legacy. You'll have mentored no people. You will not have created the difference that you're capable of because you're on scarcity, lack, anxiety, fear, and doubt. And you got to really put it on the line at some point. And I did it. I'm from a town this big, like this, 7,500 people, Clarinda, Iowa, Maryville, Missouri, 20,000 in northwest Missouri. I grew up right outside of Omaha. So Josh just said, I refuse to die with my music inside you. That was me, my brother. I said the same thing. There is no way, I used to say to myself, there is no way I'm going out like this. There is absolutely no fucking way that I'm going to die dead broke like some of the people that I know. Many of my friends who I hung around with in my 20s have already died of addictions dead broke, and that was not going to be me. 34 years of sobriety, and 34 years of free enterprise entrepreneurship. Have an outstanding afternoon. If you are on my Facebook Live this afternoon and you have not reached out to me for a free 20-minute coaching call, feel free to do that. Or if you've been on the bubble for years, I think I should hire him. I might hire him. I could hire him. I don't know. I'm going to hire him when it's perfect. Let me do that. I'll hire him when it's perfect. Well, unfortunately, it's never perfect. But it's so good to see so many of you. Thank you, Terry. That was a great compliment. Josh says, make the call. Lynn and Maury, you are an exceptional woman. I am honored to be your coach. Nestor, thank you for consistently following me and posting my content. You can buy this product on my website, Principles for Prosperity. Earl, my brother, Earl Midget, has seen me speak in the Carolinas multiple times and saw me share the stage with the great Jim Rohn. I just saw Amy Gant pop up. Amy has followed me for well over 13 years, and I had the privilege of meeting Amy in Las Vegas, Nevada in 2018, and I believe in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, back in the day. So if you want to make the call, free 20 minutes, contact me, or if you're considering hiring me, reach out and contact me. I would be honored to connect with you. You have a great afternoon.